arrested the boyfriend. They had shoe prints, blood in his garage, a history of violence.
Why is she calling you abusive?
I don't know.
What is her say?
They were certain they had their man. They had the wrong man. May 21st, 2016, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Nicole Vanderhyden, 31, mother of 3, went out for a night with her boyfriend Douglas Dietre and a group of friends. At some point during the night, she got into an argument with Doug, walked out of a bar alone, and disappeared. 3 hours before Doug even called 911 to report her missing, police had already found a woman's body near a farmyard on the outskirts of the city. It was Nicole. Detectives went straight to Doug. He had a history of domestic violence. Shoe prints found on Nicole's body matched his. There was blood in his garage. His ex-girlfriend had testified he choked her, tackled her, broke her ankle. Everything pointed at him. On May 21st, 2016, Douglas Dietre was arrested for first-degree murder. 18 days later, forensic results came back. DNA found on a single sock on Nicole's body belonged to someone else entirely, a stranger. A man named George Steven Burch, who had seen Nicole at a bar that night and followed her home. Doug's Fitbit data confirmed he was never near the crime scene. Watch detectives interrogate the wrong man. Watch the moment the entire case flips. And watch George Burch sit across from detectives and say nothing. If you're not subscribed yet, do it now. We drop cases like this every week. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and like this video. It takes 3 seconds, and it would encourage us to keep on doing our research and putting out content. It would mean a lot to our channel. Now let's get into it.
How did the night start? How did you guys all get together?
We were all going to Steel Panther.
Okay, who
as
was
a
all?
watering hole. A big group of our. I don't know why Nikki ended up leaving with our group of friends and not leaving with Doug and I. I don't know if she was just like swept up by the group and jumped in the car with them. They were going to go to the sardine can.
So who all rode together to the sardine can?
All of those people on that list besides myself and Doug. And from what I heard was, you know, that she's like, I'm leaving, and she started walking. And our friend Aaron.
And this is, where were you guys at this time?
We were in the watering hole parking lot at that point when this happened. So.
What time was this about?
I think probably like 12:15, maybe a little earlier, 12:10, that we were walking out to go to the sardine can. So our friend Aaron tried to stop her. You know, he's like, "What are you doing? You know, like you can't just run off. You know, like just wait. They're on their way here." So then Doug's calling her and talking to her, and she's, you know, yelling at him, and, you know, like, why aren't you here? Are you with some girl or something? You know, she's getting a little crazy. And, you know, Aaron had texted either Doug or I saying, like, you know, she took off. You know, I tried to stop her. So Doug, you know, she hung up on Doug. He called her back.
Who hung up on Doug?
Nikki.
Okay.
Because at this point we knew like she wasn't at the sardine can, and so then the next call, I pulled in and I parked my car, and I'm like, Doug, you know, hand me the phone. Maybe I can talk to her.
And what time was this at?
I think this is like like 12:30. That this like third call.
You called?
No, he had called, but I could hear her on the phone kind of yelling at him. I said, you know, just give me the phone. Maybe if I talk to her, I can, you know, have her let us know where she is so we can go and pick her up.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to her, and she wasn't making any sense. She was accusing me of being Doug, pretending to be me. You know, I'm trying to be like logical and rational and just be like, you know, let us know where you are. You can't just go walking around, you know. We'll come and pick you up and we'll go, you know, we'll go back home. And then the call, I don't know if she hung up or the call cut out, but then after that, every time Doug had tried to call, her phone was off. It went straight to voicemail. So I don't know if her battery died right then when I was on the phone with her, but when I was talking to her, she wasn't really making much sense.
Did any of the friends say which way she went?
They said that she went south. Aaron had texted that she went south on Maple. So I don't know if Maple is like the street where that bank is on the backside of the sardine can. If that's Maple, I'm not really, you know, sure about all those roads. So we continued to do, well, Doug the area and kind of like scope the area out and see if we could find her walking. And we drove around for probably like 25 minutes, and we figured, well, let's go to the sardine can and see if she went back there. And by the time we got back, all of our friends had left, and she wasn't there. So we went.
Did you talk to any employees of the sardine can?
Not employees, but I talked to a bunch of the people that were out on that, in like the open, yeah.
What time was this that you went back to the sardine can?
Man, this must have been at about 1:15 that I started to ask people. And I asked this one guy, I'm like, did you see a blonde girl, you know, out here? And he's like, Nikki? And I'm like, yeah, you know. But, so he's like, yeah, you know, she left a while ago. And then I asked another guy, and this other guy knew, you know, said her name too, which I know that sounds odd, but Nikki can get very outgoing and adventurous, you know, where she'd be like, what's your name? You know, I'm Nikki, you know, like, that's something I've seen her do before to strangers, so I mean, I know that could you know, that she could be very friendly in talking to people, you know, in almost a naive way, but, so we stayed there for about 20 minutes talking to people and, you know, hoping that she would come back, and Doug's still trying to call her, and then we drove around. I mean, at this point, it probably was like 1:30, 1:40. We drove around for a while again, you know, going up and down streets, trying to find her. And then, you know, her phone isn't on, so we can't get a hold of her. And we had, you know, thought maybe, hopefully, she got a taxi back or something. So then we went back to Doug's house. His phone had died by that point. We got back there, and the babysitter was there, you know, so the babysitter left, and, you know, Nikki wasn't there.
So what we want to do is kind of review a couple of things. Actually, we're going to review what you had talked about earlier with Tracy. And then we had spoken to Greg earlier, okay? And he kind of gave us a timeline of what you guys all did last night and, you know, what he did today.
I tried calling back a few minutes after that a bunch of times, and it kept on going straight to voicemail. So either way is, you know, it's either off or she's on the phone, but for some reason, there's usually a call waiting on her, but...
Right.
So I was figuring it was off, it had died.
Okay.
She had been using her phone a lot, using Snapchat and stuff like that at the concert. So that does drain the battery a lot, so I kind of figured, you know, the phone had died.
Right.
And she's bold and just goes, you know, with her own thing, and especially when it has any drinks and has no filters per se, you know.
Did she ever mention anything about postpartum depression or anything like that with the previous two kids?
No, didn't really discuss that actually.
Never. I think it might have been a possibility with
I think she was definitely, and then like, she always was kind of a social butterfly beforehand, before she got pregnant and everything, and liked to go out a lot. Not having that life after she's pregnant, and then cooped up, she's a homebody with the kid, and very great mother, and always, you know, never missed breastfeeding or anything like that. That's why, besides a few, but one other time she didn't stay at home.
What happened? Where did that start?
Bad time?
Yeah.
That was at, I'm trying to think what exactly happened that night. I don't know if I had been out or...
Similar to this though, where she just kind of walked off on her own?
No, she didn't. There was another time she did just walk off on her own. That was in, it was like January, it was the night after, it was the night of the Arizona playoff game.
Okay.
And we were at the Ravine watching it there. We had gone to the Bar East to meet up with a bunch of friends there. And she had started freaking out on me in the bar. And then she actually hit me at the bar there and like ran out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like zero, you know. And I ran out after, I was closing the tab up, and so I closed that up and I ran out after her, and she was running up on Line Kiln there, not to the corners at little auto place on the corner, and then a squad had pulled in and stopped her, and I ran up and talked to her, and she was like belligerent with the officers there, and I ended up putting her in the back of the squad car, and I walked back to the bar. We had a cab waiting for us, and well, it was on its way, and so they stayed there and made sure. Then she got in the cab and we went home, and then I don't know what she was thinking. She was stuff in her mind, and then she just goes.
A couple quick follow-ups here. When you guys went back to the sardine can, and you talked to these two random guys that you didn't know who they were, but they knew who Nicky was?
Yeah, Greg, we were asking around, and it said, was her name Nikki, or Greg said it was Nikki, or they asked what was her name, and said Nikki. I said, oh yeah, she was here.
Okay. And what part of the bar was that?
That was outside on that back patio, like towards, in between like the door to go outside and the bar.
Okay. Okay, so it was outside patio.
Yeah.
As far as this Uber driver thing that came up, how did the Uber driver get involved?
I think that was Aaron had called the Uber, or the app or whatever. One of that group had called Uber.
Okay, so who all rode with Uber, do you know?
According to Aaron, this is.
So this is coming through Aaron, you didn't see them leave with Uber?
I did not see them leave.
Okay.
He said Crystal and Angela, who are sisters, Jesse Kotler, and what else?
Aaron.
Oh, and Aaron and Darcy, his fiance, Darcy.
So Aaron, Darcy, Crystal,
and Angela. And those two are his sisters. And Jesse, I think it's Barakashan, I believe, is her married name.
How come Mike didn't drive him home?
Mike was DD, and I think he drove everybody to the water hole besides Nikki and I believe, and Greg.
Yep.
Because we kind of put this together last minute that Nikki and I were going to go. And I think he must have just dropped him off. I'm just speculating on that.
Him saying, any chance you've heard from Wild Woman? I said, no, have you found her yet? Because I was at work, so I didn't come until later. And they said, no, I'm not. I do not have my phone either, so pretty complicated at this point. I'm beyond concerned. She better be in jail. I can't answer a call. I'm only on my desktop. I said, where's your phone? Do you have a card? Did you call the jail? I called and she's not in there. And he said, I just found my phone, no card. I didn't call the jail, but I didn't answer. She found nothing. Everything was right to my jail.
When was that?
Saturday. In the beginning of their relationship, she just kind of knew they were both. She had a hard time. She went through divorce, and then she had a rough couple of years. And then she met Doug, and she's like, well, we're both kind of crazy. We will get together and no work and stuff. And then a couple months later, she found out she was pregnant. She came to me, and she wanted to get an abortion, but I told her to keep it because I had gone through the same thing, and I did it. And it's the biggest mistake I've ever made. So I told her to keep it.
What do you know about that, or when did that start, that you
From
became...
the beginning.
Okay. And so he's controlling, and he gets mad when she doesn't return his calls or texts.
And also there was a couple times where he basically, since the baby was born, hasn't really been there as a father, and he'll just go out and drink all night long and not come home. And then when my sister, she tells me, this is her side of the story, but when my sister asked, where were you, he got mad and said, it's none of your business.
Okay. And when was that this happened? Do you remember?
Not really. There's just so many incidents.
Okay. So many
just situations like that. It was every other day. She was just really depressed.
Okay. Was she on any medications for depression?
She tried. She couldn't do it. It made her go crazier.
When you say crazier, what does that mean?
Well, I don't know. She just had her thoughts and minds. She just couldn't handle it.
Did she ever discuss any suicidal ideations?
She's herself in the past.
When was that?
I want to say 2 months ago.
Okay.
We stayed together, and I know it's been really, really rocky through her entire pregnancy and their relationship. An example would be like they went to a wedding together and while she was pregnant, and she saw him doing with his friends, and she got really upset and left, and this was like 45 minutes away from home, and she was like 8 months pregnant. And he got mad at her and said, "You need to come back now," so she did.
So can you tell me some of the issues that are of concern that you think that maybe I would be interested in during that period of time? Sure.
It was right before I moved in too, actually. We got in a fight and he tackled me, I broke my ankle.
Hold on a second. And before we get into it, so there was that one call where he was arrested for domestic violence where
That was when I already had moved out, back into my...
Is that one of the last incidents?
Yes, that was
Okay.
the last incident.
And was there any other police contacts?
No, well, yeah, but not with any arrests.
Okay, and what other police agencies?
It would have been probably Brown County, because we were living in the house,
Okay.
and,
So that would be Brown County?
yeah,
Okay,
they were
and
called there,
for domestic violence issues?
yeah.
How many times?
One for sure I remember, but I think just the once the cops actually came. Because my friend called, because she was
Okay.
worried for me, yeah.
Okay, so let's get to this ankle, and then just whenever we get to that incident where the cops were called, just remind me of that. So, right before you moved in, he did what?
We got in a fight, he
Okay.
tackled me, and I broke my ankle. So, I mean...
Which ankle did you break?
My left.
Where did he tackle you?
We were in his bedroom. We were fighting, and he came at me.
Did you go to the hospital at all?
I did.
And what kind of treatment did you get?
They referred me to a specialist, and then he had to give me 2 surgeries on my ankle. And then I was in a cast for probably at least 2 months, maybe 3. I
And what did you tell medical people happened?
I tripped over my dog going down the stairs,
Why did you tell them that?
because that's what me and Doug decided to tell them.
Okay, and when he tackled you, why did he tackle you?
Because we were fighting.
Do you remember what you
I have
guys
no
were
idea,
fighting
no,
about?
I don't.
And what was the purpose of him tackling you?
I don't know, he was probably mad and he got in.
Okay, so after he tackled you, obviously you were in pain? And
Like extreme pain, like I was like, we had to stop fighting, I had to go to the hospital, yeah.
did he take you?
Yeah.
Okay, but you guys discussed what you would say?
Yeah.
Okay, and the reason why you decided to cover for him?
Well, it's because I loved him and he wouldn't get in trouble and then, everything would be fine.
Let's talk about, if you can't remember specifically, when you would argue, it would be...
He would spit in my face.
Okay.
He would, throw stuff, break stuff, and I would too.
Okay, would you ever spit in his face?
I would never spit in his face. I've never,
Okay, so I'm just gonna differentiate who did what. So spit stuff would just be him.
Mm-hmm.
And throw stuff, break stuff would
Yeah.
be both of you?
Yeah.
Okay. And what else? Yelling, swearing?
Yeah. Well, and just really, he was really controlling, he was really manipulative.
Would that be just him or both of you for yelling and swearing?
Both.
Okay. And then go back to, so then controlling and manipulative, what do you mean by that?
Well, one example, he would, I worked in Appleton at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I would call him when I got done,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would drive home.
Mhm.
And if I was like 5 minutes early, he would say, "Why are you speeding? You can't get speeding tickets, you're gonna raise your insurance," it's a big deal. Then, but if I was 5 minutes late, well then it was, where did you stop? Who are you talking to? Why are you late?
There was an incident that was reported to the Green Bay Police Department. There was choking in that particular incident. Was there any other choking besides that particular incident?
That incident that was at my house in the upper,
Right.
700 South Irwin, it probably was, or 1280 Cass.
Okay.
There's 2 addresses.
Gotcha.
He was choking me. He put the sheets from my bed into my mouth, like as much as he could,
Mm-hmm.
until I couldn't breathe. So I couldn't scream, I'm assuming.
Okay.
The school across the street called the police because they heard me screaming.
Okay.
When detectives arrived at Doug's home, what they found painted a clear picture. This was a man with a history of violence.
Here, she said, so what was she with?
Well, I'm sorry. I mean,
Did she hang up on you? Was it pretty clear that she was upset?
where am I looking?
Well, right here. This is all her text.
At 11:12 p.m. she said that?
Yeah, so, yeah, it was after 11
What did it
there.
say? So what?
She was kind of hard.
So what was you with? And
Why is she calling you abusive?
I don't know.
What does her say?
I
Okay.
don't know where she gets this stuff sometimes.
Is that common for her to talk that way to you when she's been drinking?
Sometimes, yeah, I mean,
Or when she's sober?
she doesn't drink that often, but
Okay.
Is there any other friends that she might reach out to looking for a ride or anything like that?
Yeah, I don't
other than
know.
Dallas?
We had, her sister, supposedly talked to Caitlin, who was one of her good friends, or was more of a good friend, and then Haley. That's pretty much it
And
there.
Heather, that's her
Yeah.
sister Heather,
Yeah.
she would know those people.
Yep.
Your parents arrived, did you leave the house at all?
No, I haven't left since then, until now.
Okay, so basically you got home at, what time was it, early this morning?
2:33.
Okay, so 2:30, 3 o'clock, and you've pretty much been home, from what you're telling us, the entire time?
Yep.
Okay.
She doesn't have any tattoos, right?
Nope.
Any scars from surgery or anything that you know of?
No, just, she has a scar here from, that's like in her childhood, right by her eye.
Right eye?
Yep.
Well, I think what we're looking at is, this body that was found
Okay.
down the street. I don't think it's been 100% identified as her, but there's a lot of similarities.
What do you mean a lot of similarities?
The physical description, height, blonde, belly button ring.
What happened?
Well, I don't know.
That's what we're trying to figure out here.
That's what we don't know.
That's why we're conducting interviews like this with a lot of people to try to get to the bottom of this.
Was there any other details you guys know?
No.
How what happened, possibly happened?
No. Like I said, I don't even know 100%, that it's her.
Please not. Just the way they said it on the news, I don't know, the gruesome discovery. You gotta be kidding.
Well, that's the news trip
Yeah, I know.
looking for viewers,
Yes. I swear to God, I'm the pine who did this. Thank you.
Well, obviously you're brought here in handcuffs, right? Which means you're arrested, so you have the right to your Miranda rights. Are you familiar with those rights at all? Okay, so before I speak to you any further about my investigation, I want to read your Miranda rights and see if you're willing to talk to me, okay? The reason you're here is in reference to a homicide investigation into Nicole Vanderhyden, okay? So is this something that you want to talk to me about?
Yes, sir.
What's that? You don't want to talk to me about that? So if I read your Miranda rights, you don't want to talk to me?
Yes, I would prefer a lawyer.
Okay. Let me at least fill this form out here.
Truth is that before May 21st of 2016, you never met Nicole Vanderhyden, correct?
20th to 21st, yes, sir.
The first time you ever saw her was when you observed her in that bar that night at Richard Cranium's, correct?
Yes, sir.
The truth is that you were attracted to Nikki from the moment you saw her, right?
I thought she was attractive, yes, sir.
When did you decide that you were going to have sex with her?
Later on, after we had hung out together, and we had both expressed we were into each other.
You drove her to an area that you'd never been to, that you were not familiar with at all, correct?
Yes, sir.
You drove her down Broadway, you crossed the bridge into Pier, correct?
I believe so. I'm not familiar with the area, but if you say so.
You drove Nicole out in front of her house, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's the truth. You parked there. You had every intention of having sex with Nicole that night, correct?
I was hoping that was the way it was going. That's the way it seemed like it was leading, yes, sir.
So Nicole would rather have sex with you in front of her neighbor's home with your butt hanging out the door of the car than ask the babysitter to go home?
Sir, I don't know.
Did she tell you that she was uncomfortable?
Not that I recall, sir.
You said that you were having sex with Nicole while she was in the backseat of that car, right?
Eventually, yes, sir.
And what did she tell you about how painful it was?
It wasn't gentle, no.
It was painful.
That I don't know.
What really happened was you drove Nicole home 20 miles away from where you lived, fully expecting that you were going to have sex, right? And when you get there, and it becomes clear that Nikki isn't going to have sex with you, when she attempts to go into her house and leave your vehicle, that's when your mood changes, right?
No, sir.
That's when things get aggressive, don't they?
Not at all.
That's when you grab that cord and strangle her, don't you?
No, sir, not at all.
That's when Nikki gets slammed on the ground repeatedly when she's trying to run toward her house, when those bloodstains lead in the direction back to her home. Nikki was strangled. She had a fractured jaw, correct?
I don't know, sir. That's what the medical examiner said, but I can't speak for sir. I'm not a doctor.
You heard all of that, right?
Yes, sir.
You saw her injuries. You sat through court to see the defensive injuries to her hands, to her feet, to her palms, to her fingernails, that she fought for her life, right?
According to what the doctor said, yes.
And you say that Doug Dietre did this, but of course, you didn't see that happen either, did you?
I cannot say for certain, no.
You never met Doug Dietre before that night, right?
No, sir.
So rather than just beating you or killing you in the middle of the street, he decided to enlist you, a total stranger, to help him dispose of the body of his girlfriend.
I don't know what his plans were.
He had you drive them to a remote location, correct?
Yes, sir.
He thought it would be a good idea to have a complete stranger know where he's dumping a body?
I don't know what he thought. You'd have to ask Mr. Dietre about that. We were at the descent, so I don't know how far that goes down. I'd never been there before, so I couldn't tell you exactly how far I was down there, and it was dark.
You were down the embankment?
We were not at the bottom, no. It was still inclined.
And Doug was coming down the embankment with you?
He was standing in front of me. As I was looking in that direction, he was in front of me in the incline like this. He was not ahead of me. He was like right in front of me.
The jury found him guilty and sentenced him to life without parole.
Verdict reads as follows. We, the jury, find the defendant, George Steven Burch, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide, is charged in the information. It is signed by our foreperson and dated this first day of March, 2018.
Nicole Vanderhyden was not defined by her worst nights. She was a mother of 3 who loved her kids, lit up every room she walked into, and struggled silently with demons nobody around her fully understood. Women like Nicole, battling depression, navigating toxic relationships, trying to hold everything together, are failed every single day, not by one person, by a system that waits until something goes wrong before it pays attention. Nicole walked out of a bar alone that night because she felt invisible. She deserved better than that. Her children deserved better than that. George Burch saw a woman alone and made a decision that took everything from her. Remember her name. If this case hit you the way it hit us, leave a comment below. We read every single one. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button now. Cases like Nicole's deserve to be heard. Don't let the algorithm bury them.